guys, welcome and thank you for joining us today. I'm Danny Adams here with T-Flow and we're at Norfolk Golf Club on the 13th hole, and today we're going to look at how you can launch your driver further. We're going to look at the instruction you've been traditionally taught, either through the magazines, websites, videotapes, even the instruction on the television. We're going to look at it. I'm going to give you some of my own instruction, what might seem controversial, but when you look at the best players in the world, and especially the guys who hit the ball the furthest, how can you argue with it? So traditionally, what have you been taught with? You've been taught if you want to launch the ball as far as you can with your driver or any club, you need to restrict the hip turn. You need to resist turning your hips and you need to coil up like a spring. You need to restrict the right leg or the rear leg from straightening, and essentially you need to coil up like a spring. Which sounds great, but if you look at what the best players in the world do, Bubba Watson, McIlroy, Tiger, Dustin Johnson, the guys who hit the ball the furthest almost on the planet, but definitely on the professional level, they are not restricting the hip turn. They are not restricting the rear leg from flexing, from straightening. If anything, they are allowing it to happen. Why? Well, by increasing the hip turn, you can increase the shoulder turn, essentially, which is then results in a longer swing. In general, a longer swing would result in a greater club head speed. Greater club head speed is essential to hitting the ball further. So the guys who hit the ball the shortest, they restrict the hip turn, they don't allow the rear leg to straighten, and as a consequence, they can only turn the shoulders, say 45 degrees. In general, a shorter swing would produce a slower club head speed. Slower club head speed produces a lower launch, and in general doesn't launch the ball as far. So we need to increase the club head speed. We'll do that by increasing the length of the swing. And we'll do that by not disconnecting the arms, but in actuality increasing the hip turn by allowing the right leg or the rear leg to straighten, which then gives me the freedom to turn my shoulders to a greater degree. It's going to look something like this. Have a look out for how much I turn my hips and how much I allow the rear leg to straighten. So, as you can see, I turned the hips there, allowed the rear leg to straighten, and I launched the ball a considerable distance. So let's summarise one last time. Traditionally, you've been taught to resist the hip turn, to resist straightening the rear leg, to hit the ball further. But if you look at the guys who you play with who hit the ball the shortest distances, that's exactly what they're doing. And the length of their swing is pretty short, they don't hit the ball very far. Now if you look at the guys who hit the ball the furthest, they allow the hips to turn back, they allow the rear leg to straighten. This increases the shoulder turn, and as a result, as a consequence, increases the club head speed. We launch the ball higher and further. So if you've liked the video, please subscribe to the channel, give it a like, pass it on to your friends. Any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Check my website out, DannyAdamsGolf.com, and I'm sure I'll see you next week.